Hey, Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now. Breaking news. You see it down below. I saw it on Twitter earlier. The Eagles have their next head coach. We are literally, upon filming this, minutes after the word came out from ESPN's Adam Schefter. Nick Sirianni, the Colts offensive coordinator, is the next head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. Listen, this kind of started to grow over the past couple of days. They had 2 interviews this week. Very impressed in the Tuesday interviews, everything that I heard based on Nick Sirianni. And essentially, it came down to 3 candidates. Deuce Staley, who was kind of the player's favorite, although I thought never a real candidate to go ahead and get the job. Josh McDaniels, talked about Josh McDaniels a lot here on the channel. He was widely considered to be the favorite, and at one point was the favorite until they interviewed Nick Sirianni, and Sirianni just blew them away. The offensive, prowess of him and the future he might have as an offensive-minded head coach was too good to pass up, and they went ahead and hired what is a 38-year-old, very, very young offensive coordinator in the National Football League. A lot of this comes from the fact that Frank Reich, of course, former Eagles offensive coordinator, presumably the mastermind behind the 2017 Carson Wentz success. He's the head coach in Indianapolis now, as you know. It seems like his recommendation was a big reason why Philadelphia was able to go ahead and pull the trigger on Sirianni. Now, it will be controversial, and it's controversial because he's a couple of years ahead of where he should be right now. This is a guy who you would figure next year, maybe the year after that, would be in line for a head coaching job. So the Eagles are going early in on him. But again, the reasoning is hopefully you get a great offensive mind. So he was the Chiefs wide receiver coach in 2012, Chargers quarterback coach from 13 to 15, Chargers wide receiver coach 16 to 17. In the past, now 3 years, the Colts offensive coordinator, spent time, of course, with Jacoby Brissett, and finally Phillip Rivers in his final season as a Colt. Okay, quickly, one-word reaction. I want your one-word reaction to the Eagles going ahead and hiring Nick Sirianni. What is it? Down below. Answer the pinned comment. I want to see what you guys think. This is crazy. This is brand new. Philadelphia has their head coach. Your thoughts down below right now. Okay, my one-word reaction quickly here. Interested. I'm very interested. I could also say relieved would be another word here to go with the fact that I did not want Josh McDaniels and I did not want Deuce Staley. Those were 2 coaches that, listen, I understand the idea of going after Deuce, players coach, going after Josh McDaniels, good offensive coordinator, but I wanted somebody without the drama of Josh McDaniels and with more experience than Deuce Staley being an actual offensive play caller, and now we settled on Nick Sirianni. So I'm interested. Listen, it's very simple what Philadelphia is trying to do right now. They're trying to recreate the Andy Reid hiring from way back in the day, right around whenever I was born. Go late 90s, early 2000s. Philadelphia went for a young offensive-minded head coach or an offensive-minded coordinator with no head coaching experience. Young Andy Reid. You can go back and you remember, you're old enough. They went ahead and hired him. He was controversial, but had the futuristic offensive mind they were looking for, and it turned out to be an absolute home run as Andy Reid took Philadelphia to 5 straight NFC title games, 6 overall, and obviously 1 Super Bowl appearance during his run. So the recreation and the mold is there. Now the question is Sirianni bright enough and as smart of an offensive coordinator, an offensive genius as the Eagles obviously want to go ahead and hopefully create what is an offense in desperate need of a reboot. We'll talk about more here in just a little bit. So it's very clear they're going for an Andy Reid creation here, which, as I've said before, for many of these guys who have not been head coaches, there's not a lot for us to go on, right? I mean, the Colts offense has looked pretty good the past couple of years. It hasn't been the best in the league, but it looks pretty good, and so you kind of go, well, let's hope he can take what Philadelphia has currently, build around that core, and create an offense the likes of which was the best in the National Football League, arguably back in 2017, with Frank Reich as the offensive coordinator, who, of course, is the head coach of Nick Sirianni with the Colts. Before we keep going, just while you guys stay sub, we got you guys literally, this is minutes after, on a Thursday afternoon, getting you guys this update. Of course, we had to upload it, so maybe an hour after, officially whenever it's over. But make sure you guys are subscribed to Philadelphia Eagles Now for the latest news regarding anything regarding the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm sure there'll be plenty more coming out in our news video tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. This is clearly a quarterback-friendly decision. Philadelphia made it very clear that their next head coach was going to have to be someone who could, quote-unquote, fix their quarterback controversy they have right now. More importantly, fix Carson Wentz. This very much feels like they are doing this to go ahead and help Carson Wentz. Again, going back to the Frank Reich connection, as we have heard, Philadelphia, or I should say Carson Wentz, was a big fan of Frank Reich, and maybe the big reason why he was so good in 2017 was more Frank Reich than, let's say, a Doug Peterson. So this is clearly a tip of the cap, a gesture in kindness to Carson Wentz to hopefully mend the relationship, bring him back to Philadelphia. That way, 1, you can hopefully rebuild his career, and 2, you don't waste hundreds of millions of dollars as Philadelphia might have done if they were to trade Carson Wentz and not get the full benefit of not only his play style, but also the contract as well. It's a quarterback-friendly decision. Again, this is them basically saying, Carson, you like Frank Reich. We understand that. Reports saying he wants to be traded to the Colts. Talk about that tomorrow. This is as close as we can get you to Frank Reich. Is that okay? I mean, to me, it's exactly what this is. We're going to try and get you Frank Reich. Here's Frank Reich's younger, 2.0 in terms of what they say. Being the offensive coordinator with the Colts, we'll go ahead and hire him. Either way you look at it, Philadelphia has needed an offensive reboot for the past couple of years. I mean, you can make the case that in 2019, the offense would have been good enough had they had offensive weapons, but I can honestly argue that ever since 2018, for whatever reason, post-Frank Reich, I mean, they were okay in 2018, but really post-Frank Reich, the offense has really stalled and really stuttered, and not only from a creativity standpoint for an offensive play calling position, but just overall the lack of big play threats and the lack of big play abilities and the unbalancedness of being a running football team versus a passing football team. It needs a complete offensive reboot, and the hope is that Nick Sirianni can come in and go ahead and give you that complete offensive reboot and really hopefully revitalize the Eagles' offense. This is so clear what Philadelphia has been trying to do and why they look so hard at a guy like Josh McDaniels. They want a culture change, but they also want somebody who can come in and give you that next, I think, group of head coaches in the National Football League, like the Mike LaFleurs or the Matt LaFleurs of the world, like the Kyle Shanahans of the world, like the Andy Reid's back in the day of the world. Give me a young guy who can come in, fix the quarterback spot, and therefore fix the offense in order to get Philadelphia back to the place where I think a lot of people were expecting them to continue to be after the 2017 Super Bowl victory. So, as I said, I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I like it better than Deuce Staley. I like it a lot better than Josh McDaniels. I think Josh McDaniels could have been an absolute disaster. The majority of Eagle fans, from everything that I heard, were very much against Josh McDaniels. So this is a much easier blow and a much easier candidate to go ahead and get behind. And I would argue that a lot of Philadelphia, especially on Twitter, is going to be very, I think, open to the idea of Nick Sirianni. All of Philadelphia is still very much concerned with the state of the football team, I'd say. The lingo of Doug Peterson and the Carson Wentz drama. We're all sitting back and going, okay, how are you going to fix this? And bring in a guy like Sirianni, a non-controversial hire who has the young, the offensive-mindedness, and of course the links to a respected head coach now in Frank Reich are all positives. I think Philadelphia as a whole will take the hiring very, very well. But as we continue to say with all the new head coach hirings, whether you're Urban Meyer, whether you're Robert Saleh or Nick Sirianni, you have some, track record to go back on. The Colts offensive coordinator for the past 3 years, but now we got to see what you do from a head coaching perspective. And every single coordinator who has never been a head coach in the National Football League has a massive, I'd say, just shoes to fill overall to be good quickly. And it's no different in Philadelphia as they're coming off of 3 straight playoff appearances until this debacle last year, and Eagle fans are expecting them to get back to the postseason and be tops of the NFC East in as little as 1 year. So Sirianni has a lot of expectations and big shoes to fill because Doug Peterson is, as we said, the only head coach in Eagle history to win a Super Bowl. Okay, grade the hiring. What did you guys think? Grade the Eagles hiring, A, B, C, D, or F down below. For me, I'm gonna say B minus. I don't want to go. I don't want to say C plus is a little harsh again because I like it's not Josh McDaniels. If this had been Josh McDaniels, I would have said C minus. If this had been Deuce Staley, I would have said C plus, maybe. Like those are to me almost failing grade hires. Whereas this one is a passing grade hire. It's not an A. It's not coming in here and getting, let's just say, Arthur Smith, who I thought would have been an A hiring overall for Philadelphia. It is a B minus hiring, which I think is a fair overall offer. And now we sit back and hope that not only can Sirianni work well with Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts and the offense, but with Howie Roseman as well, if they draft well, if they do their free agency well, and do they do everything right this offseason, and Sirianni has the offensive mind that we hope he does, this is a football team that can get back to the tops, not only the division, but back to the postseason. And in the end, that's really the only goal we all have in Philadelphia. All-time effort today here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. I wanted to jump on, get you guys the update. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thumbs up for being quick. We'll talk more about the future of the Eagles and Sirianni tomorrow in our news and rumor video. As the Eagles have their man, how do they build around him? That's the next step in the process. For Philadelphia Eagles Now, I'm Thomas Maude going ahead and signing off for the rest of your day.